Hi, hello, and Pula Vinaka to everyone who's watching. My name is Naval Kumar, and I'm a software engineer from Fiji. Actually, I graduated last year back in April. Then I decided to take the year off just to learn a couple different languages, build some projects of my own, and also a portfolio before I entered the job market. So today I'll be talking about one particular project that I worked on during this break that I took. So I'm pretty sure this video is going to be quite lengthy. So I'll be placing chapter markers so you can skip to whichever part that intrigues you the most. This is not going to be a programming video. I'm not going to write code to show you how to build this project from scratch. This is more of a behind the scenes of my thought process and the things that I did in order to build this project from scratch. Now, whatever concept and resource that I talk about in this video, I'll be providing links in the description below so you can check them out if you decide to build a project similar to this one. So let's get started. Last year, when pandemic situation was at its peak in Fiji and borders were closed, unemployment was on a rise and people were stressed about finding themselves a job. One thing I noticed was that we were still using newspaper classifieds to post job openings, and this new trend of using Messenger and Viber groups to post job adverts were also starting to emerge. That kind of felt disorganized to my OCD brain, so I thought to myself, what if someone wrote an app where employers can post job vacancies and people seeking a job can bookmark the ones that is relevant to their field of study? I know that there might be an app that already exists like this idea, but I didn't bother to look for apps in the App Store because I wanted to build something from scratch myself. And since I was on a break, this was a perfect opportunity for me to learn something new. Now, every time I'm given a project, I think about 3 questions. The first is, what am I building? Is it a web app, a mobile app, or an application for a different platform altogether? Based on this question, I determine who my target audience is going to be. Would it be used by my clients internally, or is this project outsourced to me by my clients so that it can be utilized by some other external users? Now, after I identify my audience, I think about the third and the most important question according to me, and that is, how do they want me to build this? What particular set of constraints, if any, have they placed on this project? Do they have a set of software standards that I need to follow in order to match the systems that they have already put in place? What do they require of me? This brings me to the Software Requirements Specifications document, or the SRS. This is a document which contains a set of requirements that you negotiate with your clients prior to building any project for them, and this will describe what the software must do and how it must perform. If you have memory, especially like me, it's better to write down as many things as you possibly can in order to stay on track with your development process and you're able to build and deliver exactly what your client has stated in writing, verbatim. So for this particular project, I'm using the IEEE Standards for Software Requirement Specifications, which is a standard template that I've used for many of my university projects as well. Since I was building this as my pet project, I didn't make it as detailed as I would for my assignments. I only filled it with details that I felt were necessary for me in order to build this project from scratch. At this time, I didn't know anything about mobile development, and I decided to go with whatever framework that was the most popular, which in this case was Flutter. Flutter is an open source cross-platform mobile development framework by Google that uses its own programming language called Dart to create hardware-optimized apps. For my backend, I went with Firebase, and since it was also Google's product, I thought they would both complement each other and also allow smooth integration in terms of development, which it did. The way I planned the project was that I'll write this app for Android using Flutter. This will interact with Firebase services, which is great by the way, because the free plan comes with so many cool features that you can use when you're building prototypes or a small project with only a few users. It is secure and you can select whichever way you want to authenticate your users within your app. And for additional security, you can also configure app check in order to ensure that all requests to your Firebase products like Cloud Firestore and Cloud Storage come from your app only. If you need more detailed information about Firebase App Check, you can check out the documentation. Link will be in the description. For authorization checks, if you decide to go with Cloud Firestore database and cloud storage products, you can configure the rules in order to add additional security. This will prevent unauthorized users from gaining access to your data and also adds backend security to your role-based configurations within your app. Now that I had everything planned out, the next step for me was to design a throwaway prototype of my app. So basically, make a drawing of what I envisioned the app would look like. In order to do that, I used Adobe XD. And initially, I was going to put in a lot of effort to create the perfect design, but I was simultaneously watching different tutorials to understand and learn Flutter, which is why I ended up making a very plain black and white skeleton design of this app. But this is just a draft sketch anyways, something that I can use as a visual reference point to guide me as I'm developing this project and obviously refactor afterwards once I get a good foundation going. In Flutter, every time we build an application, majority of the time we'll have to deal with the movement of data whose changes should reflect on our user interface as well. This is where the concept of state management comes into play. Now, whenever we encapsulate state or any data we need to rebuild our UI within a single widget, this is known as the ephemeral or local state. This is useful for simple apps or in situations where other sections of our application or widgets in the widget tree do not need access to this kind of state. However, in medium to large scale complex projects like this one, we need to share our state across many parts of our app. For that, using only stateful widgets will not be sufficient. So for this app, I went with the provider package because it was a Google recommended solution for beginners, since this was the least complex state management technique to learn compared to other techniques if you're only starting out. Now, if you look at the description of the provider package, it says the provider is a wrapper around inherited widget to make them easier to use and more reusable. In simple terms, it basically works like a dependency injection, whereby you can inject data from a provider to any of the widgets that require that piece of data by listening to the changes using a consumer. For a detailed explanation with better diagrams, you can check out the Flutter docs for simple app state management using the provider package. Link will be in the description. Every project, no matter how big or small it is, there'll always be bugs, issues, and areas where you can improve upon. For example, in job lookup, if you notice after the timer runs out, the job advert closes but it does not get deactivated automatically. The employer has to manually deactivate or update the job after its expiration date. So this is one area where the app can be improved, and based on my research, I couldn't come up with any free solutions. One possible solution that I could find was if I were to switch from the free Spark plan to the pay-as-you-go Blaze plan, I can make use of cloud functions to write something like a cron job that will monitor the closing date of the job advert document in the backend. And once that date is reached, it will deactivate the status of the document automatically. But this is where I'll stop. So that was it with the video. If you guys enjoyed the video or learned something new, then do give this video a thumbs up. And if you're a job seeker like me, then I wish you the very best. And if you're an employer, then you can always reach out to me and hire me for a job. You know you want to. Thanks for watching.